Now at 9, authorities in southeast Kansas recover the remains of those believed to be a teen missing for more than a year.
Allergy season is among us. Don't worry, I got you covered. I spoke to a local pharmacist on what you can do to protect yourself. I'm Lonnie Walton in Miami. I'll have that story coming up.
The White House putting pressure on the nation's mass transit systems to clean up and address crime. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington, and I've got the details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Authorities recover human remains in Cherokee County. Remains suspected to be those of a teenager missing for more than 15 months. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Missing person posters like this one were displayed on area businesses ever since 19-year-old Jaden Santini was reported missing in December of 2023. The family said he could be in the Miami, Oklahoma or Joplin area. Last night, the Cherokee County Sheriff's Department received a call reporting the discovery of skeletal remains in a wooded area just west of Columbus. There were personal items also in the area, which point to the identity of the person as Santini. According to the sheriff, there is no evidence of foul play, and no one else is being sought in connection with this incident. The remains have been turned over to the coroner's office for official identification and cause of death. Independence Community College votes to approve a resolution of intent to consolidate with its neighbor, Coffeyville. Both the ICC Board of Trustees and the Coffeyville Community College trustees have been discussing the possibility of merging for more than a year. Tonight's meeting was open for the public to comment. Both schools are in Montgomery County and less than 25 minutes apart. There are 19 community colleges in the state of Kansas, and Montgomery County is the only county in the state to have 2.
It would be great for the students in a lot of ways. They would have access to all the different campuses. It would affect some faculty and staff of both schools to some degree. But it looks like with the financial climate that this would probably be a good thing for our students and our taxpayers.
The next step is for both schools to contact the Kansas Board of Regents to get approval for a special public election. Well, drivers on Kansas highways are now required to move over when passing stationary vehicles displaying hazard warning lights. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly signed the bill into law today. Historically, move-over protections were limited to emergency personnel, and over time, these protections added road service vehicles, utility, and tow trucks. Under this new law, move-over protections will apply to all highway vehicles displaying hazard lights. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. Temperatures fantastic into lower 70s, about 10 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. 72 is our official high. Chilly start, 36. 63 is our average high. 86 was the the record set back on this date. All right, so looking down the road, we have mainly 70s all week long, which is pretty good temperatures. Now, we are going to get some showers in here late Wednesday into Thursday morning, but better chances for thunderstorms rolling in, especially late Saturday into Sunday. Some of those could be strong, possibly severe, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that over the next several days. All right, down to 50 by 7 a.m. I think our overnight low, about 48 degrees. We do have some clouds kind of shooting through, so that means partly sunny skies on your Tuesday. We're going to be looking at that here in just a bit.
Thanks, Doug. Spring is here. Unfortunately for many, the season brings runny noses and itchy, watery eyes. KOAM's Lonnie Walton shares local expert advice to help you feel a little better.
I'm at Osborne Pharmacy in Miami, and I spoke to a local pharmacist who says, although there's no cure for allergies, there's things you can do to make you feel a lot better.
My eyes get runny and everything, but I just don't feel good.
Bruce Turner is a Miami local who struggles with allergies. He says he's thankful for his meds.
I take 2 different. I take one in the morning and one in the evening, It's usually when the wind's blowing strong.
And he's not the only one who needs those meds. Dr. Jack Osborne, a pharmacist from Osborne Drugs, says many have already been looking for relief. He says all many need is a few over-the-counter drugs.
They're called Flonase or fluticasone. This is the first-line therapy for really any type of allergy. It's a simple spray in each nostril once to twice a day.
And aren't you wondering what the doctor uses when he's not feeling well?
I take Allegra, which is a generic fexofenadine. Allegra is one of the ones that doesn't cause drowsiness.
And for those of you who don't like to use medicine, the pharmacist says there's some natural remedies like
Neti pot. I try to use a neti pot once a month just to flush out your sinus cavity.
And Dr. Osborne says you should also be mindful for what drugs you choose to use, as some may cause drowsiness. Tanner says he does what he can to keep his mind relaxed.
Usually just sit down and get a book, read to try to get my mind off of it.
Reporting in Miami, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Osborne says it's good to start taking allergy medicines right away because some can take up to 2 weeks to become effective. Investigators confirm an unintentional electrical fire caused the blaze that damaged a home in Carl Junction and displaced a family over the weekend. Firefighters also rescued 2 cats hidden in a bedroom. No injuries were reported in the fire. Community members can find ways to help the family through the Bulldog Drive-In, which is sharing assistance information. Tax season is in full swing, and the Parsons Public Library has a program that may interest people who struggle with the filing process. The library is hosting a series of free in-person tax assistance events with the help of AARP. The event is open to anyone, but especially people over the age of 50 who cannot afford tax preparation.
We've seen a need for tax services. We've lost some of our local preparers. And then through my work with Medicare and counseling, I've seen a lot of seniors that are really trying to keep as much money in their pockets every month. And being able to offer free tax services does that, especially during tax season, because they don't have to pay a preparer to get their taxes done.
While the event is free and open to the public, participants should call the library to reserve an appointment. The tax assistance program will run every Monday until April 14th. Coming up, baby formula safety.
RFK Jr. rolling out a new plan to ensure baby formula safety. I'm CB Cotton in New York with more on what it means for parents coming up.
And later, more springtime events at Wildcat Glades means a growing need for more volunteers. The Department of Health and Human Services rolls out a new initiative aimed at protecting our nation's youngest. Fox News' CB Cotton has more.
The nation's health secretary, Robert Kennedy Jr., launching a new task force aimed at improving the safety of baby formula. The initiative, dubbed Operation Stork Speed, calls for a review of the levels of heavy metals and other contaminants in infant formula. The agency will also start a nutrient review process and encourage companies to work closely with the FDA.
We're going to review the formulations for the first time since 1998. And really make sure, do comprehensive tests to make sure this is the healthiest product that our kids can have.
A recent Consumer Reports investigation found potentially harmful levels of arsenic and lead in some baby formulas, but the study showed most did not have high levels of contaminants. The review comes after a formula shortage in 2022 during the global supply chain crisis. The problem exacerbated by the shutdown of an Abbott formula plant in Michigan over sanitary violations. RFK is pushing for the U.S. to ramp up its domestic production of formula, even going so far as to call it a national security issue.
Really 4 companies that are producing almost all of our baby formulas. And the only way that we're going to bring those prices down is to bring more competition in the United States.
Some health officials, though, have questioned the effectiveness of RFK's strategy, particularly following significant budget and staffing cuts at HHS. In a meeting with formula makers last week, RFK also took issue with their nutritional content, specifically calling out the use of seed oils and added sugar. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
Well, more Americans received the flu shot this season compared to those who got the latest COVID-19 vaccine. The 2 vaccines became available last summer. A Pew Research Center survey found 42% of U.S. adults got a flu shot, while 27% received the COVID shot. One of the reasons, the current flu season has had a higher number of hospitalizations and deaths. Just over half of Americans say they have not received either vaccine. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends getting both the flu shot and an updated COVID-19 vaccine. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later a counter from the Democrats.
Some perhaps new energy on the left as Democrats seek to counter the Trump administration. I'm Doug Luzader in Washington. We'll have more on that just ahead.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. Really pretty good conditions. Most of us into lower 70s for afternoon highs. A little bit of a light breeze. It's going to be a little breezy as we go through the next couple days, but overall looking pretty good. Great shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam looking downtown Joplin. All right, through the night, backing down by 50 by morning. I think our overnight low is going to be about 48 degrees, but a quick rebound back to 61 by 10 a.m. Still a little breezy for us tomorrow. We kind of have a northerly wind throughout the daytime hours, but gusts only about 15 miles per hour, which is definitely manageable, especially after what we've seen over the past several weeks. May pick up a notch on Wednesday, so gusts kind of 15, 17, 18 miles per hour or so. But besides that, we look okay. We do have a lot of clouds skirting through. That means partly cloudy skies tonight. Partly cloudy skies once again, or partly sunny as we go into Tuesday. Big ridge of high pressure, so we get these weak waves kind of dropping in, but eventually later this week we'll get a system that undercuts this ridge and kicks out. That will give us better chances to get some rain in here later this week and then heading toward the weekend. All right, let's go through time hour by hour. Partly cloudy skies by morning, about 48, 49, 50 degrees. As we go through your morning hours, still kind of hit and miss with the clouds. We're going to stop at the noon hour. Temperature is pretty good, so we're looking mid to upper 60s to near 70 by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, this time of year, high temps usually between about 4 and 4:30. Looks like most of us pretty good. 71 in Stockton, 74 in Anderson, 77 at Grand Lake, Parsons up to about 75 degrees. So Tuesday looks fantastic once again. Partly cloudy skies stick around Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. Very similar. We drop back about 48 to about 50 degrees. In and out of the clouds again on Wednesday. Now, there could be a sprinkle or two, but I really think most of us will stay dry. Notch cooler. High temps right around 70 by Wednesday afternoon. Tuesday day planner 50 in the morning, 68 by noon. High temp 73 again on Tuesday afternoon. Let's go into those storm systems later this week. Here's Thursday. We may get a few scattered thunderstorms early in the day. It doesn't look anything strong or severe. Once we get into Friday, we have a wave tracking just to our south. So we may get a few showers in here, especially south of I-44. Better chances for thunderstorms late Saturday. And we're talking late Saturday evening into early Sunday. We're talking nocturnal showers and thunderstorms, and with it, some of those could be strong to possibly low-grade severe. It doesn't look like a big severe weather outbreak, but still several days away, but something we want to watch as we go through the next several days. 73 on your Tuesday, 72 on your Wednesday, 77 on Thursday, near 80 on Saturday, and then we'll cool down a little bit more behind that storm system on Sunday and Monday.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, spring is definitely here, which means plenty of fun events are on the horizon at Wildcat Glades Nature Group. However, the group only has a few staff members, which means many of their events are run by volunteers. And as KOAM's Melissa Alexis reports, the need for volunteers is growing.
My favorite part is working in the nature store and helping with the program.
Vicki Cassidy, the education chair for Wildcat Glades Nature Group, likes to spend her free time volunteering.
I do a preschool program twice a month. We have others that do older kids programs every month. We have hikes. We have a Tuesday crew that are all volunteers, and they maintain our area, our grounds, the trail.
Robin Standridge, the group's executive director, says there's a huge need for volunteers year-round, but especially now with the weather warming up and tons of events planned.
If we don't have enough volunteers, our programs get smaller. We have to leave different parts out. Maybe it's a portion of may the force be with you, that we can't pull off because we don't have enough people to do that. It's very, very important to have those volunteers in place.
She says volunteers are so crucial, and last-minute cancellations from volunteers can cause the event to suffer.
It puts a lot of added stress on staff. It does, and the quality of the program, the quality of the event actually really goes down considerably.
Children have to wait on something, or maybe the materials aren't passed out correctly, or maybe the grass needs to get mowed, or just volunteers take care of all those issues.
Standridge says she gives props to volunteers for helping make events possible.
If you come to a Wildcat event and everything runs really smoothly, you know that our volunteers have shown up and they are on it.
Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The process to become a volunteer with the group includes an application and an interview. Well, coming up, the Dirty 15.
The White House is focused on its April 2nd deadline for reciprocal tariffs, and it's honing in on what it's calling the Dirty 15. I'm Rebecca Castor in Washington with those details coming up.
Nominate your four-state hero today.
With Liberation Day just over a week away, the White House is narrowing the scope of next week's tariffs to the Dirty 15. Countries with the largest trade imbalances. As Fox's Rebecca Castor reports, President Trump is not holding back from targeting Venezuela.
Tremendous amounts of money will be soon coming in from tariffs.
At the White House, the Trump administration is staring down a big deadline, April 2nd, the day the U.S. will impose reciprocal tariffs on countries with unfair trade practices.
This is a program that's going to be, I think, unbelievable for our country, and I think it's treating other countries very fairly.
But the looming tariffs may not be as far-reaching as once thought. The White House is now dialed in on what it's calling the Dirty 15, the 15% of nations with the worst trade imbalances. According to the U.S. Trade Representative, China, the European Union, and Mexico top the list.
It's win-win. Either the trade friction that these other countries have come down and we get fair trade, and if they don't follow President Trump's lead, then he will raise the tariff wall.
But President Trump also seems to be looking for a way to punish Venezuela for not cracking down on illegal immigration. Since the U.S. doesn't do a lot of trade with the country, Trump plans to impose a secondary tariff, also taking effect April 2nd, announcing on Truth Social, any country that purchases oil and/or gas from Venezuela will be forced to pay a tariff of 25% to the United States on any trade they do with our country. This secondary tariff is really the first of its kind. China and India are the two biggest buyers of Venezuelan oil and will be impacted the most. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
It's National Cheesesteak Day. Up next, we take you back to the origins of that tasty sandwich. Philadelphia is home to many things: the Liberty Bell, Independence Hall, and of course, those celebrated stairs Rocky climbed outside the city's Museum of Art. But it's also famous for creating the cheesesteak, a popular sandwich sold across the country. And today marks National Cheesesteak Day. If you've never tried a cheesesteak, the ingredients are simple: a hoagie roll filled with thinly sliced beef and melted cheese. And people often add onions on the sandwich. The cheesesteak has been a delicacy since 1930, when a hot dog vendor in Philly came up with the idea. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has a warning for the country's mass transit systems: clean up crime and homelessness or lose federal funding. And Democrats find new energy as progressive leaders call for a more aggressive approach against the Trump administration. But not everyone in the party is on board.
Big Bang Theory.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. President Trump's transportation secretary takes aim at the nation's mass transit systems, calling on them to clean up their act and address violent crime. Fox's Madeline Rivera reports.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy delivering an ultimatum to the nation's mass transit systems. Clean up your act or risk losing federal funding.
We're going to take action. If they don't get on board to change their ways, we're pulling cash.
The secretary was in New Jersey over the weekend where he launched his harshest comments yet on the state of New York City subway, putting the blame on New York Governor Kathy Hochul for crime and homelessness in the system.
If you want people to take the train, take transit, then make it safe, make it clean, make it beautiful, make it wonderful. Don't make it which is what she's done.
Duffy's comments came months after a woman was lit on fire on the New York City subway and another person was pushed in front of a train, and just a few days after a woman was shot and killed on a Chicago Transit Authority platform. In New York, subway riders were split on Duffy's comments.
They're dirty. Everybody knows that. There are millions of rides taken every week, and that kind of violence is just not the norm.
A spokesperson for the Mass Transit Nonprofit Riders Alliance says if Duffy is serious about cleaning up the city's subways, he needs to take a more constructive approach.
The answer is to invest, to engage, not to try and tear us apart.
Last month, Duffy rescinded federal approval for the city's congestion pricing plan, a toll on drivers meant to encourage more people to use the subway. Governor Hochul filed a lawsuit in response, and the toll remains in place for now. In Washington, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
With President Trump facing one legal challenge after another, Democrats are dealing with some battles of their own. As party leaders struggle to counter the administration, progressives are pushing hard for a new direction. Doug Luzader has more from Washington.
The Trump administration has been moving so quickly that it's been difficult for Democrats to find their footing here, but the left wing of the party is feeling some new momentum. President Trump got the welcome he was looking for in Philadelphia over the weekend, attending the NCAA Wrestling Championships. Democrats, though, may have found some energy of their own.
Thank you, Denver!
At a massive rally in Colorado, Senator Bernie Sanders found support the likes of which he says he's never seen before.
We have never, ever had a rally as large as this.
But this was old guard and new guard. Sanders stood beside Progressive Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, seen by some on the left as the future of the party.
It's no way to live. And we do not have to live like this. In fact, we cannot live like this.
Both argued for a more combative stance from Democrats and a changing of the guard after Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer refused to stand in the way of a Republican-backed funding bill to keep the government from shutting down earlier this month. Despite intense pressure, though, Schumer says he's not going anywhere.
Look, I'm not stepping down. And our caucus is united in fighting Donald Trump every step of the way.
But it's clear from the crowds that a number of Democrats are pushing for a new direction.
The majority of the Democratic Party wants full-out combat against the Trump administration. So that's where Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders come in.
Still, moderate Democrats from swing states have a different take here, worried that swinging too far to the left will further erode Democratic numbers in the midterm elections. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Well, explosions light up the sky in Gaza as Israeli airstrikes target key locations, including Nasser Hospital, the region's largest medical facility. Israel says it targeted an Hamas operative there, killing him and at least one other person, while injuring several more. And this comes as doctors in Gaza are overwhelmed with patients following Israel's resumption of attacks last week. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the strikes after hostage negotiations with Hamas stalled. The group is believed to still be holding 59 hostages. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, missing Hollywood.
Tinseltown's lost its luster in recent years. Can anything be done to bring productions back? I'm Max Gordon in Hollywood, California. We'll have that story coming up.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. Really pretty good conditions. Most of us into lower 70s for afternoon highs. A little bit of a light breeze. It's going to be a little breezy as we go through the next couple days, but overall looking pretty good. Great shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam looking downtown Joplin. All right, through the night, backing down by 50 by morning. I think our overnight low is going to be about 48 degrees, but a quick rebound back to 61 by 10 a.m. Still a little breezy for us tomorrow. We kind of have a northerly wind throughout the daytime hours, but gusts only about 15 miles per hour, which is definitely manageable, especially after what we've seen over the past several weeks. May pick up a notch on Wednesday, so gusts kind of 15, 17, 18 miles per hour or so. But besides that, we look okay. We do have a lot of clouds skirting through. That means partly cloudy skies tonight. Partly cloudy skies once again, or partly sunny as we go into Tuesday. Big ridge of high pressure, so we get these weak waves kind of dropping in. But eventually, later this week, we'll get a system that undercuts this ridge and kicks out. That will give us better chances to get some rain in here later this week and then heading toward the weekend. All right, let's go through time hour by hour. Partly cloudy skies by morning, about 48, 49, 50 degrees. As we go through your morning hours, still kind of hit and miss with the clouds. We're going to stop at the noon hour. Temperature is pretty good, so we're looking mid to upper 60s to near 70 by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, this time of year, high temps usually between about 4 and 4:30. Looks like most of us pretty good. 71 in Stockton, 74 in Anderson, 77 at Grand Lake, Parsons up to about 75 degrees. So Tuesday looks fantastic once again. Partly cloudy skies stick around Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. Very similar. We drop back about 48 to about 50 degrees. In and out of the clouds again on Wednesday. Now, there could be a sprinkle or two, but I really think most of us will stay dry, notch cooler. High temps right around 70 by Wednesday afternoon. Tuesday day planner 50 in the morning, 68 by noon. High temp 73 again on Tuesday afternoon. Let's go into those storm systems later this week. Here's Thursday. We may get a few scattered thunderstorms early in the day. It doesn't look anything strong or severe. Once we get into Friday, we have a wave tracking just to our south. So we may get a few showers in here, especially south of I-44. Better chances for thunderstorms late Saturday. And we're talking late Saturday evening into early Sunday. We're talking nocturnal showers and thunderstorms, and with it, some of those could be strong to possibly low-grade severe. It doesn't look like a big severe weather outbreak, but still several days away, but something we want to watch as we go through the next several days. 73 on your Tuesday, 72 on your Wednesday, 77 on Thursday, near 80 on Saturday, and then we'll cool down a little bit more behind that storm system on Sunday and Monday.
Thanks, Doug. Well, heavy hail blanketed several parts of southwest Missouri late Saturday night. And while it didn't last long, the hail did some damage in downtown Lebanon. Nick Kelly takes us there.
Honestly, it sounded like the roof was going to cave in. We didn't even know we were expecting hail. So it started hitting the windows. It was really loud.
The scatter storms in the Ozarks late Saturday night packed a punch in Lebanon, producing quite a bit of hail, especially on the Mercy parking lot. Sarah Inks with the Downtown Lebanon Association took pictures of some of the murals showing hail damage and notified the art committee.
This building is completely surrounded on all four sides, and they're about 20 to 25 years old, so they've all taken a little bit of damage from the hail. Some of the ones like this one took the blunt of it.
Others were left untouched after Saturday's storms. Damage or not, these murals have been a unique identity to Lebanon since the murals started going up back in 2000. The themes vary from superheroes to memorable events and welcoming people into town.
With the public supporting these murals ever since they went up, there has been a plan in place to refurbish or revitalize some of the worn down murals across the area. However, the recent hailstorm might have gotten this project a little bit of a kickstart.
We have already talked about, wanting to refurbish all of the murals downtown. It's just a little bit longer a process than I think people think. But it's our goal to fix all of them.
The Downtown Lebanon Association says the repairs will be funded through donations from business partners and others who want to directly donate to the art committee.
Most people don't know that we have a lot of murals down here. I mean, almost every block has some kind of art. If you don't recognize these murals, maybe come take a walk around downtown and see. There's a lot of little hidden gems down here.
Well, coming up in sports, Pittsburgh State women's basketball tries to advance to the Final Four. Plus, a standout from the Gorillas men's team enters the transfer portal. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Tonight is the night. A week removed from cutting down the nets in John Lance Arena, Pitt State women's basketball plays in the Elite Eight, hoping to take one more step towards winning a national championship. Pittsburgh State women's basketball in the Elite Eight facing Lubbock Christian. Good start for the Gorillas. Corinna Gerber working in the lane, finishes with the left hand. Then Sydney Holmes with a great bounce pass to Savannah Campbell, who finishes. Pitt State up by 6 at the end of the first quarter. Now to the second quarter, Hannah Nilgis on a catch and shoot 3. That's good. Gorillas up by just 2 at halftime. We go ahead now to the third quarter, and Sydney Holmes pulls the trigger from beyond the arc. She connects. A couple of minutes later, back to Gerber. She attacks the basket, gets fouled, and the shot drops. Gerber would hit the free throw to put the Gorillas up by 10. We're still in the third quarter, and now Grace Pyle gets in on the action. She hits a big 3. That puts PSU up by 11. We go ahead to the fourth quarter. After Lubbock Christian gets to within 5 points, Macy James is open in the corner from 3, and her shot is good. That stretches the lead back to 8, and Pittsburgh State is one of the last 4 teams standing in Division II. The Gorillas win it 66-55. That means they advance to face Grand Valley State in the Final Four on Wednesday. And the 2024-25 college basketball season is over for our local men's teams, but the transfer portal keeps things interesting for both the Gorillas and the Lions in the offseason. Both groups have multiple players entering the portal recently. We'll start this morning where Pittsburgh State guard and reigning MIAA Player of the Year Jordan Friesen announces on social media he's entering the transfer portal. The Gorilla sophomore says that he's doing so with the opportunity to return to Pitt State. Friesen averaged 18 points, 6 assists, and just under 4 rebounds per game this season. He scored a career-high 39 points in a win over Nebraska Kearney. That was in the quarterfinals of the MIAA tournament. And he joins Yo-Yo Kursapu, a 6'2 junior from Estonia, as the only 2 players from Pitt State to enter the portal since the season ended. Meanwhile, Missouri Southern has 4 members of its 24-25 team that have already entered the portal. Freshman Tyreek Brooks from Springfield, he averaged 13 points and 4 rebounds per game, and he was the Lions' starting shooting guard this year. Sophomore Justin Duff, who averaged just over 6 points per game coming off the bench, as well as junior guard Jamari Lawrence. He averaged 4.5 points per game off the bench. And freshman Cooper Francis, who saw action in just 6 games. All 4 of them have already entered their names in the transfer portal. And closing things out with some baseball news, the Mid-America League announces today Abilene, Texas will once again host its playoffs this summer. The Joplin Outlaws won the inaugural Mid-America League Championship last August by beating the Abilene Flying Bison on their home field. This year's playoffs are set to start on August 5th, with the championship series taking place the 7th to the 9th. Back to the basketball I was talking about. Big night for Pittsburgh State. The women making history here tonight. They win in the Elite Eight. Last time they made it this far, they lost their first game in the Elite Eight, so now they are 2 wins away from winning the national championship.
And that's what I was going to ask. Have they ever made it to the Final Four?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head how far back they go. I know last time they made it was 2016, and they lost in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, so big night, great night for those girls.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, wow. On to Wednesday, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, we're back with more news after this. States across the nation are trying to attract major production companies to film in their region. Fox Business correspondent Max Gordon is in Hollywood with what other states are doing to take business away from California.
It has been a tough time for Hollywood between strikes and COVID, and most recently wildfires that have upended life in parts of LA. The industry here has taken blow after blow. According to Film LA, there was a slight uptick in shoot days during the fourth quarter of last year from the year before, but 2024 was still the second least productive year observed, second only to 2020, which was disrupted by the pandemic. Last fall, Governor Gavin Newsom announced a plan to get productions back to Hollywood, proposing an expansion of the California Film and Television Tax Credit Program, bumping up incentives from a $330 million annual allocation to $750 million. But the Golden State has plenty of competition. New York is proposing an increase of its film incentive program up to $800 million a year with a 40% tax credit. Texas is looking to raise their incentives up to $450 million and a 22.5% tax credit. And Georgia, a hotbed for many feature films, thanks to having no annual cap and a 30% tax credit. And studio execs are looking globally. When asked in a survey of their top shooting spots, the first 5 were foreign. Toronto at number 1, followed by the UK, Vancouver, Central Europe, and Australia. California came in at number 6. Meanwhile, we've got the premiere of The Last of Us Season 2 being set up right behind us. The filming location for that series, British Columbia. In Hollywood, California, Max Gordon, Fox Business.
The house full of illegal firework chemicals explodes after it's intentionally burned by firefighters. That story coming up. In Los Angeles, authorities faced with a fire hazard that couldn't be solved with water decided to fight fire with fire. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
This is the moment a house in LA blew up after officials purposefully set it ablaze, saying it contained highly volatile chemicals too dangerous to move. It started days earlier when the house, which officials say contained chemicals believed to be used to make fireworks, exploded, injuring one person and trapping at least one dog that was reportedly later rescued. According to an ATF official, the chemicals detected inside were too volatile to douse with water or attempt to move.
This house is essentially a bomb.
So after issuing an evacuation to surrounding homes, a controlled burn was executed, and it didn't take long before the structure exploded again, sending glittering fireworks flying in all directions. Another controlled chaos scenario, this one in Utah, where the official response to a natural avalanche was to set off another unnatural one. Engineers did just that, triggering an intense snowy slide that kicked up a powdery plume in the Cottonwoods Canyon area, all to try and prevent damage should just such a thing happen again. Just trust me, it all makes sense. Finally, nobody planned for it, nobody could control it, but it appears no one was injured when a lightning bolt suddenly blasted a Nashville home's front yard tree. So now we all get to marvel at it. The sudden strike sent splinters and shards flying in the surveillance video, which is impressive, but unfortunately has no sound. So please, allow me. Thank you very much. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
That's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a polar bear showing off his diving skills at the Oregon Zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.